I'm Kachwan Gondu, and in this presentation, I'll be talking about the immune system. The immune system can be divided into three basic lines of defense against pathogenic infection. The first line of defense against infection are the surface barriers that prevent the entry of pathogens into the body. The second line of defense are the non-specific phagocytes and other internal mechanisms that comprise the innate immunity, while the third line of defense are the specific lymphocytes that produce antibodies. This is a table presentation of the non-specific defense and the specific defense. Under the first line of defense, both the skin and the mucous membrane release chemical secretion which restrict the growth of microbes on their surface. If pathogens cannot enter the host body, they can disrupt normal physiological functions and cause diseases. Under the second line of defense, these defenses do not differentiate between different types of pathogens and respond the same way upon every infection. Phagocytic leukocytes migrate to infection sites and engulf foreign bodies, while inflammatory responses increase capillary permeability at infected sites, recruiting leukocytes. Antimicrobial proteins regulate immune activities within the body, while fever increases body temperature to activate heat, shock proteins, and suppress microbial growth and propagation. This is a diagram of a macrophage. This aspect is of great importance for the role that macrophages play in stimulating specific immune response, something in which a granulocyte play no part. The final line of defense against infection are the lymphocytes that produce antibodies to specific antigenic fragments. Each B cell produces a specific antibody, and the body has millions of different B cells capable of detecting distinct antigens. The central tolerance. Through this process, immune cells with T cells receptors or B cell receptors that can recognize and bind to self-antigens are eliminated, or for some T cells are differentiated into tracts. Peripheral tolerance. The mechanism occurs after matured lymphocytes are released into the lymph nodes or other tissues. These mechanisms are intended to prevent autocreative immune cells that have survived the mechanism of central tolerance from damaging the periphery. Features of autoimmunity. Autoimmune disease affects around 5% of the population and include a diverse range of more than 80 conditions, from rheumatoid arthritis to pernicious anemia. Immune system disorder is an autoimmune central nervous system disease that affects the brain and the spinal cord. Lesions in multiple locations within the central nervous system and a hallmark of multiple sclerosis, and are caused by infiltration of immune cells across the blood and brain. Rheumatoid arthritis. The most common chronic inflammatory joint disease is rheumatoid arthritis, and it is still a major medical challenge because of unsolved questions related to the environmental and genetic cause of the disease. The information of immune complexes are reaction to the immune factors caused by the inflammatory process in joints, particularly in the hands, the feet, and the legs. Active immunity is defined as the immunity to a pathogen that occurs following exposure to said pathogen. Natural immunity is created when a person becomes infected by a disease. Take for instance, someone who becomes infected with chickenpox. After the initial infection, the body builds immunity against the said disease. Artificial active immunity. Artificial active immunity, a person can build a resistance to a disease following immunization. An immunization is defined as the process by which someone becomes protected against a specific disease through the administration of a vaccine. Passive immunity is a protection from a disease provided by antibodies created outside of the body. This is a table representing the active versus passive immunity. As you can see, it's well labeled out. Antigens and antibodies. Antigens are usually either protein or polysaccharides. An antigen is a molecule that stimulates an immune response and to which antibodies bind, while antibodies are protein molecules that bind specifically to a particular part of an antigen, so-called antigenic sites. They are found in the blood and tissue fluid, including mucous secretion, saliva, and breast milk. Benefits of vaccination. Vaccination increases the levels of circulating antibodies against a certain antigen. Vaccination utilizes the secondary response by exposing the body to the antigen of a particular pathogen and activates the immune system without causing disease. Measles infection rate in the UK between 1940 and the present day. This is a table of the history of measles, the vaccine, and the MMR immunization program in the UK from 1963 up till 2018. For herd immunity to work, a large proportion of the population need to be vaccinated, as you can see on the diagram. Factors affecting vaccine uptake, including the attitudes, belief regarding vaccination in general, including positive and negative attitudes, accessibility and affordability, including logistics, combinations of vaccine, and cost. Thank you.